Hello and welcome to Quiz Time. I'm Jess, and today I have a trivia quiz for you. So, 100 questions coming up. Are you ready? Let's go. What percentage of an iceberg is typically visible above the waterline? 50%, 25%, or 10%? Just 10%. Which physics theory proposes that particles exist simultaneously in multiple states until observed? Thermodynamics, quantum superposition, or relativity? Quantum superposition. Who was the first American astronaut to orbit the Earth? Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, or John Glenn? John Glenn. What is a defining belief of the Shakers, a Christian religious sect? Strict adherence to fasting or celibacy and communal living? Celibacy and communal living. What is the main name given to underwater icebergs that pose risks to submarines? Shelfbergs, keelbergs, or ice floes? Keelbergs. Which physicist developed the thought experiment involving a cat in a box to explain quantum mechanics? Max Planck, Albert Einstein, or Erwin Schrödinger? Erwin Schrödinger. When was NASA officially established? 1945, 1958, or 1969? 1958. Which obscure religious group is known for worshipping celestial bodies, particularly the sun? Zoroastrians, Yazidins, or Maronites? Yazidis. What term describes the process by which icebergs form? Glaciers, carving, fragmentation, or melting? Carving. What physics theory suggests that time might be an emergent phenomenon, not fundamental? Loop quantum gravity. The Cathars, a medieval religious group, believed in which dualistic concept? The battle between good and evil spirits. What is the primary danger posed by icebergs to ships? Visibility during the day, their massive underwater structure, or their rapid melting? Their massive underwater structure. Which rare physics theory introduces the idea of infinite parallel universes? Multiverse theory, gravitational wave theory, or unified field theory? Multiverse theory. What does NASA's acronym stand for? National Aerodynamics and Space Administration, National Aerospace Studies Association, or National Aeronautics and Space Administration? It's National Aeronautics and Space Administration. What is the term for the portion of an iceberg submerged underwater? The shelf, the draft, or the float? It's the draft. Who first theorized that black holes emit radiation, challenging previous beliefs? Stephen Hawking, Albert Einstein, or Niels Bohr? Stephen Hawking. Which spacecraft was the first to carry humans into space under NASA? Freedom 7, Mercury Redstone 3, or Voyager 1? Freedom 7. What is unique about the Rastafari movement compared to mainstream Christianity? Its rejection of all religious texts, its inclusion of Islamic practices, its belief in the divinity of Haile Selassie. Its belief in the divinity of Haile Selassie. What is the term for a group of small icebergs that break off from a larger one? Bergy bits. Which physics theory persists that space and time could emerge from a single geometric structure? Quantum tunneling, emergent space-time theory, or string theory? It's emergent space-time theory. NASA's Perseverance rover launched in 2020 and is exploring which planet? Mars, Jupiter, or Venus? It's Mars. What is a unique feature of the Zoroastrian faith? Fire temples as places of worship. Icebergs are predominantly composed of what type of water? Brackish, salt water, or fresh water? It's fresh water. Which physics phenomenon involves particles moving faster than light in a specific medium? Tachyon theory, Cherenkov radiation, or Fermion acceleration? Cherenkov radiation. What was the main purpose of the Hubble Space Telescope launched by NASA? To search for extraterrestrial life, to monitor solar activity, or observe deep space objects and phenomena? Observe deep space objects and phenomena. What belief sets the Quakers apart from other Christian groups? It's the inner light and personal revelation. How do icebergs contribute to marine ecosystems? By forming habitats for whales, by reducing sea levels, or by carrying nutrients that sustain plankton? By carrying nutrients that sustain plankton. Which theory suggests that black holes might connect to other points in space and time? Wormhole theory, quantum loop theory, or stellar collapse hypothesis? Wormhole theory. The 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami was triggered by what geological event? Fault line collapse, underwater volcanic eruption, or subduction earthquake? It was a subduction earthquake. What is the theoretical boundary surrounding a black hole called? Singularity. What catastrophic event caused widespread famine in Ireland during the 19th century? Flooding, potato blight, or drought? It was the Great Potato Famine, the potato blight. What natural disaster destroyed the city of Lisbon in 1755? Tsunami, earthquake, or hurricane? It was an earthquake. Which space theory proposes that the universe could collapse back into itself after expansion? Eternal inflation, oscillating universe, or Big Crunch? Big Crunch. Which phenomenon is thought to occur at the centre of every galaxy, including the Milky Way? Wormholes, supermassive black holes, or gamma-ray bursts? Supermassive black holes. What natural event caused the Dust Bowl in the United States during the 1930s? Flooding, severe drought and poor farming practices, or tornado outbreaks? Severe drought and poor farming practices. What is the name of the theory that predicts the universe will expand indefinitely? Big freeze, steady state theory, or quantum entropy? Big freeze. Which historical tragedy was caused by a cyclone and storm surge in 1970, killing hundreds of thousands? Bolo cyclone, Bengal tsunami, or Indian Ocean cyclone? Bolo cyclone. How does a black hole form? From the gravitational collapse of a massive star, by absorbing other stars, or from colliding galaxies? From the gravitational collapse of a massive star. What volcanic eruption is considered the largest in recorded history? Krakatoa, Vesuvius, or Mount Tambora? Mount Tambora. Which space theory suggests the universe is just one of an infinite number of universes? Multi-universe theory, dark matter theory, or string theory? Now, we're checking if you're paying attention. Multi-universe theory. Well done if you got that one. What natural disaster led to the Fukushima nuclear disaster in 2011? Tsunami, earthquake, or typhoon? It was a tsunami. What phenomenon occurs when a black hole consumes matter, emitting powerful radiation? Accretion disk radiation. What devastating flood affected millions in China in 1931? Yellow River flood, Yangtze River flood, or Pearl River flood? It was the Yangtze River flood. Which black hole property determines its gravitational pull? Mass. The Great Fire of London in 1666 was likely started by what? A chemical explosion, a bakery fire, or lightning? It was a bakery fire. What is the theory that black holes may contain pathways to other dimensions? Wormhole theory. What natural disaster was the deadliest earthquake in recorded history occurring in 1556? Tohoku earthquake, Shanaxi earthquake, or Lisbon earthquake? Shanaxi earthquake. What happens to time near the event horizon of a black hole? It becomes random, it slows down, or it speeds up. Going a bit outworldy in this quiz today. It slows down. Which hurricane in the United States is considered one of the most expensive and deadly in history? Hurricane Andrew, Hurricane Sandy, or Hurricane Katrina? Hurricane Katrina. What is the term for the energy emitted when a black hole merges with another? Gravitational waves. What caused the 1815 year without a summer? A massive drought, the eruption of Mount Tambora, or a solar eclipse? The eruption of Mount Tambora. What is the Schwarzschild radius? The size of a neutron star, the orbit of a planet, or the distance at which light enters a black hole? Cannot escape from a black hole. The distance which light cannot escape from a black hole. What natural disaster devastated Galveston, Texas in 1900? Hurricane, earthquake, or tornado outbreak? Hurricane. Which rare space event involves two stars colliding and creating a massive explosion? Kilonova. What caused the Great Plague of London to spread so rapidly? Rats and fleas carrying bacteria, contaminated water, or airborne pathogens? Rats and fleas carrying bacteria. How are black holes detected if they emit no light? By analysing their event horizons, by observing their effect on nearby stars, or by gravitational shifts? By observing their effect on nearby stars. What disaster inspired the construction of the Hoover Dam? Droughts in the Midwest, earthquakes along the fault lines, or frequent flooding of the Colorado River? Frequent flooding of the Colorado River. What is the astronomical term for the apparent shift in a star's position caused by the Earth's movement around the Sun? Doppler effect, parallax, or retrograde motion? I hope you're enjoying these space questions. It's parallax. The ancient Egyptians used which material for the soles of their sandals? They used papyrus. Which early search engine launched in 1994 was among the first to popularize web browsing? Alta Vista, Lycos, or Yahoo? All these search engines a blast from the past? Which one did you use? Lycos, was that one? What surgical technique originating in ancient India is considered one of the earliest forms of plastic surgery? Rhinoplasty, trepanation, or cauterization? Rhinoplasty. The first shoes ever discovered were made of which material? Leather, reed, or bone? They were made of leather. What year did Tim Berners-Lee introduce the World Wide Web to the public? 1990, 1991, or 1993? 1991. Which celestial phenomenon did ancient Chinese astronomers refer to as guest stars? Comets, meteor showers, or supernova? Supernova. The Hippocratic Oath, foundational to modern medicine, originated in which ancient culture? The Greek culture. In medieval Europe, the pointed shoe style known as poulines was banned. For what reason? They were deemed immoral due to their extravagance, they caused foot deformities, or they symbolized rebellion. They were deemed immoral due to their extravagance. Netscape Navigator, launched in 1994, introduced which groundbreaking feature? Browser tabs, bookmarking, or secure web browsing with HTTPS? Secure web browsing. What is the approximate age of the oldest star in the universe? 10 billion years, 14.46 billion years, or 13.8 billion years? 14.46 billion years. The first high-heeled shoes were designed for what purpose? To elevate the wearer above muddy streets. The first widely available email system introduced in the 1970s was called what? CompuServe, ARPANET Mail, or Prodigy? It was ARPANET. The Hubble Space Telescope was launched in which year? 1998, 1992, or 1990? 1990. The first rubber-soled shoe, the precursor to modern sneakers, was developed in which century? The 19th century. Who coined the term cyberspace in the 1980s? Ray Kurzweil, William Gibson, or Neil Stephenson? William Gibson. The first confirmed exoplanet discovery was made orbiting which type of star? Red giant, pulsar or white dwarf? Pulsar. Which shoe brand revolutionized footwear by introducing vulcanized rubber soles in the early 20th century? Converse. What was the first banner ad to appear on the internet in 1994? An AT&T advertisement, a Microsoft promo, or a Coca-Cola ad? An AT&T advertisement. What is the term for the region in a galaxy where stars are actively forming? Nebula, supercluster, or stellar nursery? It's a stellar nursery. During the Renaissance, powdered wigs were worn primarily for what reason? To cover baldness caused by syphilis. What is the name of the massive amphitheatre in Rome used for gladiatorial games? Circus Maximus, Colosseum, or Pantheon? It's the Colosseum. Excuse me. What ancient language is considered the precursor to many modern European languages? Proto-Indo-European, Latin, or Old Norse? Proto-Indo-European. In the Bronze Age, shoes were typically secured to the foot using which material? Leather thongs, metal clasps, or plant fibres? Leather thongs. The early search engine Ask Jeeves launched in 1996 and had what unique feature? Do you remember using Ask Jeeves? I certainly do. And it had natural language queries. The 1910 theory by Henri Poincaré suggested what about space-time? It was infinite, it was curved by gravity, or it was rigid? It was curved by gravity. The term slip-on shoes originated due to the absence of what common feature? Buckles, laces, or stitched soles? It was laces. What ancient empire was the first to adopt Christianity as its state religion? Byzantine Empire, Roman Empire, or Armenian Empire? Armenian Empire. The famous painting Girl with a Pearl Earring was created by which Dutch artist? Johannes Vermeer. Which famous explorer's journey in 1519 led to the first circumnavigation of the globe? Vasco da Gama, Ferdinand Magellan, or Christopher Columbus? Ferdinand Magellan. What year marked the beginning of the Great Depression in the United States? 1929 or 1931? 1929. The 1960s Green Revolution primarily focused on advancements in what field? Agriculture. What was the primary purpose of the ancient Vikings' runestones? Commemorating significant events or people, religious rituals, or mapping territories? Commemorating significant events or people. What was the primary ingredient in traditional medieval ale? Wheat, malted grains, and herbs like groot or barley? Malted grains and herbs like groot. The term Cold War was first used by which journalist in the aftermath of World War II? John Hersey, Edward Murrow, or Walter Lippmann? Walter Lippmann. Which early computing machine is considered a precursor to the modern computer? Analytical engine, analytical calculator, or difference engine? Analytical engine. What ancient city was famously preserved under volcanic ash after Mount Vesuvius erupted? Ostia, Pompeii, or Herculaneum? Pompeii. What material was first used to create synthetic fabric in the early 20th century? Rayon. Which US president was responsible for introducing Social Security in 1935? Herbert Hoover, Franklin Roosevelt, or Harry S. Truman? Franklin D. Roosevelt. What was the primary purpose of Hadrian's Wall in Roman Britain? To mark the boundary of the empire, to defend against northern tribes, or to connect Roman settlements? To defend against northern tribes. Who was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize? Florence Nightingale, Rosalind Franklin, or Marie Curie? Marie Curie. Which ancient civilization is credited with inventing the first known mechanical clock? Greeks, Romans, or Chinese? The Chinese. What year did the first transatlantic commercial flight take place? And this is your last one. It was in 1940. So, how did you do today? Drop your score in the comments below, and of course, like and subscribe so you get notified every time we post a new quiz. And please join us next time on Quiz Time.